Good afternoon to everybody. I'm Firjan. I work in oil and gas management of Firjan. We're here for the first edition of the web chat of oil and gas and Navy of 2021, starting with a very important subject that is a public call for the development of technologies jointly with oil and gas market. And I would like to show my appreciation to everybody that is participating, all the lecturers and speakers and those who are hearing us in YouTube or here in Brazil or in Norway or other countries with simultaneous translation. And I will explain the order of our speakers, and I will then explain a mini bio of each speaker, and then we will pass on to the presentations. Today, we would divide this webinar in 5 parts. First, we will have FINEP's presentation, then Innovation Norway, and then SENAI's presentation, finalizing with the presentation of the public call by FINEP with all the details of the public call. And at the end of the presentations, we will start with Q&A, and whoever wants to bring any kind of issue or question, you include in the chat in English or Portuguese. And we have a team that is following all the Q&A, and this won't be any problem. I will start introducing each of our speakers that are here today, starting with Mauricio Filho. He's a superintendent in FINEP. He's a mechanical engineer, graduated by the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. And he started his career as an engineer in group in Madrid and started in FINEP in 2002. And 2009, he started as a manager of non-reimbursable resources, oil, gas, Navy, petrochemistry, metallurgy, and all others, transportation and engineering. Okay, so retail and services, even electrical and energy. So he's the head of the Department of Follow-up, which mission is to promote strategic development in the portfolio of companies supported by FINEP. Since 2014, he has a role of operations superintendent, and currently is in charge of innovation area 2 that has the oil department, mining and Navy industry department, engineer, metal mechanics, equipment, transportation, and services, and also chemistry, metallurgical materials. This is a bio of Mauricio Filho, and then after we will introduce Michelle Duarte, that is from Innovation Norway. She's Senior Project Manager of Innovation Norway, Production Engineer by Almeida University with MBA in Tourism and Developer of Business. He's in charge of engineering area of Innovation Norway, an agency of the Norwegian government. She has a network of cooperation for the development of business of impact to companies and the society and the environment. Very good. The participation of SENAI here is with Antonio Fidalgo. He is currently a researcher and head of SENAI Green Chemistry and Innovation Head Department. It's not his first participation in our webinars. He is already for the 3rd time with us. He's a biophysician and a doctor, and also works in the Institute SENAI, has a lot of experience in management of high-performance teams, and also scientific partnerships nationally and internationally. And this I didn't know, he's an author and co-author of several scientific publication and reviewer of in sustainable chemistry publication and food chemistry. I don't know if I mentioned it correctly or not. And finalizing the 4th lecture, Cristiane Abreu, manager of Department of Oil, Mining and Navy Industry in FINEP. She's a manager of companies with MBA by FGV of Rio de Janeiro, and she has at the head of Mining and Oil Department of FINEP since 2014, having a lot of experience in everything with foster analysis and the follow-up of credit follow-up for medium and big companies, universities, and institutions with the support of sectorial funds. Since August 2006, to March 2014. She was in charge of analyst in FINEP and also PMB, PDI, projects in Brazilian companies and Navy industry, and also she's in charge of Fragoso strategic programs related to this area. Before FINEP, she also had experience, 11 years of experience in Fundação Roberto Marinho and Rádio Amaro Comércio e Indústrias Limitada. So we have here great important people to speak about this project and to understand a bit more how it is being developed, this public call, and we can also cooperate through SENAI. Mauricio, we thank you very much for being with us. I pass the floor to you, and we will start then after with the following speakers. Well, thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to say good afternoon to everybody in Brazil and Norway, and I would like to thank Firjan for opening this space. Firjan, there's always a part of very, very close to FINEP, opening this space for us to disclose all the actions, joint actions that we are developing with Norway, mainly this third public call, FINEP with the Norwegian Research Center, giving a continuation and showing the strength of this partnership has already supported 7 projects mutual cooperation between companies and scientific and technological institutions in Brazil and Norway. But let's start speaking about FINEP first. FINEP is a public company linked to the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, founded in 1967, and it has a mission to give support to studies, projects, programs for our social, economical, scientific, and technological development of Brazil. We have a vision to transform Brazil through innovation, and with this, FINEP is the main agency in the country to foster technology innovation and technology, and it operates the greatest fund, that is the FECD, that collects about 6 billion reais per year, and has supported more than 30,000 projects, about 630 employees, and offices in Brasília, Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, Belém, Fortaleza, and Florianópolis. The main target is to work in all the innovation chain through impact for the sustainable development in Brazil. And for this, we support the research stages, the basic research stages or applied research, prototypes, technology, all the cycle of science, since innovation, since the basic research up to the arrival of the product to specific areas of the market. And for this, we use different tools, financial tools, non-reimbursable funds for scientific and technological institutions through public calls, resources, non-reimbursable resources for companies through public calls, and also continuous flow, with this FINEP entrepreneurial, and also the reimbursable funding for companies, that means the loans. So we have a huge amount of tools to give support to different sizes of companies and sectors of the economy and different scientific and technological institutions. And science and technology, we're going through a moment in the world of pandemics, and it shows how it is important for all the countries to support its national system of technology, innovation, and technology. How many times we lack inputs in FINEP. Last year, in 2020, we used many public calls to give support the struggle against COVID-19. And we had 106 projects that were supported, 318 million reais non-reimbursable, and also we used a line of credit for industrial reconversion, and also for medical devices. You can see we didn't have the respirators during the pandemics, and also inputs to have alcohol. And this made it possible for us to become able to give a quick response and be able to produce all these inputs here in Brazil. So it's fundamental. It's an issue of capacity building, sovereignty, to invest in science technology for the well-being of the humanity. So let's pass now to cooperation with Norway. FINEP has a lot of agreements of national cooperation, and Norway is a very successful country since 2009 with the task force for technology, science and technology here between Brazil and Norway. We signed MOUs in 2014, and we launched public calls in 2016, 2018, and now December 2020, and this one we're talking about now at this moment. We had 3 missions going to Norway. We published a conference in November. Every November we hold these smart conferences. These events are very important to disclose what is happening in science, technology, and innovation between both countries. And this is a mixing place where all the companies and academias meet and make it possible to have a matchmaking that is so important. So the first public calls was launched in 2016. We had 5 million reais of FINEP and 10 million of Norwegian crowns from Norway. And the second public call was for the enterprises and allowing others to be participating also. And the second public call was for ICT, for the participation of companies. And the third one is towards the companies, 5 million reais by FINEP, are non-reimbursable resources. And the Research Council of Norway has 26 millions of Norwegian crowns. So it's a long-time partnership. It's very good to work with our Norwegian partners. They're very serious, very committed, and also they follow the deepening of this partnership between Brazil and Norway, and the results are happening, and it's a great opportunity for Brazilian companies and the academia. Also, Cristiane, that works with me, is the manager of oil and gas department, will further on explain a bit how this public call works, and I will then end my words and thank you very much, Firjan, for the space. I pass the floor to Michelle Duarte of Innovation Norway.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michelle Duarte. I am the Senior Project Management of Innovation Norway. Good evening for those that are in Norway. And I would like to firstly thank Firjan. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you for organizing this event in such an agile and competent manner. Thank you very much for this effort in disseminating our call so we could reach a broader audience than we could have through our own events and efforts. So thank you very much, Firjan, for working with Innovation Norway and FINEP. So talking a little bit about Innovation Norway. Innovation Norway is an agency of the Norwegian government, so we work under the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Fisheries, and we are a diplomatic and commercial mission. So the main purpose is to provide support to the development of Norwegian businesses here in our country. We also work as a bridge linking Brazilians that also want to carry out investments or to do business in Norway. We provide also support to Norway in the issues of branding and tourism. So Innovation Norway works here as a representative of the Research Council of Norway, which is the Norwegian Research Council. That would be the counterpart of FINEP in Norway. So that is why we are here today with our partners of FINEP. from FINEP. So I'd like to say that I'm here representing my colleague Mariana Insing, who is our counsel for these issues of science and technology. Mariana is responsible for this call. We work together. I work with business development and energy, and she works with science and technology in the science and technology department. But since I am the representative or delegate that speaks Portuguese, I'm here representing Marianne today. So I would like to thank Firjan once more for the invitation, and I would like to call my colleague that will present himself, that is Antonio Fidalgo from SENAI. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I have become a partner of the oil and gas and these naval department in these webinars, which are quite enriching. Here, my goal here is to present briefly our institutes and how we can provide support to innovation and how we can be an excellent partner for the industries in this call notice, which is an excellent opportunity. I have the conviction that we can make this opportunity even more attractive. So, as I said, I will present the 4 innovation institutes that we have in Firjan, both from SENAI and also SESI. So we have our Green Chemistry Innovation Center. We have the Integrity Innovation Institute, and then we also have our Occupational Health SESI Innovation Center. So we have Green Chemistry, Inspection and Integrity, and Production Virtual Systems for Production. So this makes a lot of difference when we have this high-level research and development. So we follow ISO 14001. So we have there the accreditation of the National Agency of Petroleum, our oil agency, and this production virtual systems, and also the Green Chemistry department that adds much more value to our research projects. So we consider that this is one of the best ways to promote industrial innovation. So, as I said, these 4 institutes today, we have about 100 people that are totally dedicated to the execution of research and development projects. Of these, 130 have masters and degrees and PhDs. We have 38 experts and technicians. We have 20 people that have scholarships that are part of our projects, and we also have our project office that has 6 people that are totally dedicated to help the management of these research projects. So we have here different research lines or skills, and we have 2 of them that are quite specific to our green chemistry department, which is the process materials and transformation of green chemistry, and also the methodologies and sustainable technologies for chemical monitoring. So we also work with green analytical chemistry, chemistry and sustainability. Our research involving oil and gas and petrochemical products is also very interesting. We also have technologies for treatment of the use of soil and wastewater. We have also molecular biology and biology. So here we have our research lines. We have the advanced monitoring for non-destructive inspection. So these institutes that I just mentioned, they are part of our management department, chemical and material management department. We also have our integrity and inspection. And we have SESI that is more focused on labor health, or the health of our workers, and especially focused in oil projects. So within inspection integrity, we have advanced monitoring for this type of inspection. We have characterization and standardization for integrity of materials, and also the mapping of industrial risks. So the segment of our digital technology within our SENAI Institute we have these lines of smart interactive systems and enhanced reality. We have enhanced augmented reality and virtual realities. We have mixed reality. We have virtual environments. So we have very interesting projects involving artificial intelligence and a simulation of several processes, including within the area of oil and gas. So our health center that is focused more on occupational health, our SESI Health Center for Occupational Health, we have their lines that provide scientific support for new products and health processes. We have biotechnology and the development of biomarkers, molecular biomarkers. We have also molecular methodologies for health. So now I'm going to briefly talk and focus a little bit more on this call notice, which is a great opportunity. So I'm going to talk about some of the projects that we have that one of our institute develops, and we do that in partnership as well. So these are mathematical models to predict solids and metals and oils. We have also simulation of generation of energy through the absorption of CO2, liberating methane, for example, releasing methane through gas hydrates. We have also sustainable systems from biomass to treat oily waters. This is a project that I was mentioning before with our team. We will submit this to the call notice. We're a partner of a Brazilian company and a Norwegian company also to work with chemical analysis through images of these oily waters, for example. I believe that those that are watching this presentation, you can make any comments on the chat. We also have these ultrafiltration models that also have good application for the oil industry. In the part of health, we have the detection of PPEs and real-time image analysis and computer imaging. So we have also this computational or computer vision or view. So this is something that we use for our virtual systems to monitor our productions within the SESI Center. We also have heat exposure monitoring through infrared. We have here our area where we inspect the integrity. We have new materials that are developed. For example, we have graphene and nanocellulose. We have also non-corrosive, anti-corrosive linings of graphene. We have also a very interesting project involving corrosion and the monitoring of the species that are related to biocorrosion. We have optimization through stoichiometric variation and the chemical nature of graphene nanoplates. We have also artificial intelligence applied to these filtration models. So these are several projects that are applicable to this opportunity that we're going to hear from Cristiane now. And I'm totally available for new partnerships, and I would like to participate in new projects for this call notice. So now I would like to call Cristiane, who is our colleague, who will show the call notice, and then we will open for any questions and answers and any comments. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to all of you. Firstly, I would like to thank Firjan from the very first moment. They agreed to hold this event. It has been mentioned. It was very brilliantly performed in a very short time. Thank you, Fernando. I would like to thank Innovation Norway, the Research Norwegian Council, our partners, and to thank you all that are here watching us and hearing us. Can you hear me now? Okay. So I want to thank Innovation Norway and the Norwegian Research Council, and also for all the people that are here, hearing and watching us in the event. I have the main objective.
Cristiane parou o som de novo. Será que tá acontecendo? Sei, eu fiz, a gente fez diversos testes antes. Alô, alô? Continua. Você tá falando alguma coisa, Cristiane? Alô? Agora voltou.
So, continuing with my presentation. Are you hearing me? Yes. Okay. The third public call.
Cristiane parou de novo. Gente, a gente está tendo algum.
We're having a problem with the technical problem here.
Cristiane,
We're sorry.
pode testar pelo som do laptop, de repente?
So this public call is the third public call.
Não, parou.
Are you hearing me? Everybody hearing me, please? Okay, let's go to the first slide. So I excuse myself, we had a technical problem, but here I will replace Cristiane. She will pass the slides, I will talk about them. Let's continue then. So as I mentioned, there was an MOU in 2014. This MOU, the idea of this agreement is to give support to the cooperation project between Brazil and Norway, mainly in offshore oil, although we are also expanding to other subjects, renewable energies, oceans, events with agriculture. And we had during the Norwegian and Brazilian Week of Science, Technology and Innovation, all these projects develop projects for services with Norwegian companies within the scope of all the subjects that were presented. That is, the projects have to also be relevant to both countries and developing in a balanced way between the participants. So we had a first public call in 2016. This part I already mentioned with 4 supported projects. The first call, the second call, the third 3 projects. The first one for direct support to companies, the second one for scientific and technological structures to both countries, and this third call now is exactly directed to Brazilian and Norwegian companies, but very desirable the participation of scientific and technological institutions of both countries. So the main target objective of this is the partnership of both countries, companies for developing science and technology of the interest of both countries. FINEP will give support to the projects developed by the Brazilian companies and the research Norwegian country by the Norwegian companies through their respective financial instruments and the subs that we're maintaining and expanding at each call reduction of greenhouse gases, efficient of energy and environment, the underground study, including CO2 for the recovery of oil. This is very important. This is an expertise that Norway has and very strong, especially in the basin of Santos, where you can see, Campos, basin of Campos, where you see wells that are in a stage that you have to extract the maximum possible to recover what is still there. And the drilling, intervention, production, and processing and transportation, severe accidents in the environment, working place, and material technologies, that is, technologies that may help in the safety, security, extraction, productivity of oil, focused in the TRR levels of 2 to 6. In Norway, the Norwegian companies are eligible for support with financial resources for the CNP, and in Brazil, the company should be a Brazilian company eligible for these resources, and it has to have a registry in the commercial and also in the natural people and legal entities up to 31 December 2018. They have to have some operational activity or non-operational equity or financial years of 2019 and 2020, and you have to prove this by financial statements sent through Amendment 3 of this public call published in the site of FINEP, and have a social object, the date of disclosure of this public call compatible with the proposed subject. That means it cannot be a company that doesn't have any kind of knowledge or expertise doing something that has anything to do with their social objective. And so the financial support, 15 million of Norwegian crowns by RCN and 5 million of reais by FINEP. By FINEP, these are resources that are non-reimbursed from F and DCT, And the companies have a counterparty that is minimum to be given during the project according to their size. What can be supported? Civil and civil works, facilities, machine and equipment, raw materials, airline tickets and lodging, softwares, outsourcing services, and everything that has to do with the development of this project of research and innovation, and all the expenses with investment of capital cannot overcome 20% of the subsidized amount by FINEP and GCT, that is, machinery and equipment cannot overcome this, and civil works and facilities cannot overcome 20% of the amount. The requested value for FINEP and also the counterparty will be equal to the total amount of the proposal. The requested value to FINEP can be a minimum 500,000 reais, the maximum 1,800,000 reais, reminding that it's a total cost of 5 million reais. And here we can see, according to the size of the company, that means the greater size of the company, greater is the counterparty, but also there's a limit in the amount of resources that can be requested, of course, according to the size. A company, a micro company, has gross invoicing 360,000 reais, can have maximum request 700,000 reais. A big company over 90 million reais can request up to 1,800,000 reais. That's the maximum amount. That means from 500,000 to 1 million to a small company, and also 1,400,000, and the big ones up to 1,800,000. The execution timeline is from 12 to 36 months. All the support of FINEP, the Brazilian company that receives non-reimbursable resources, must develop the project in national territory. So it has to be developed here in the country, out of the country. It will be developed. Everything has to do with our Norwegian partners, helped by the RCN. So here the minimum percentage of counterparty, according to the size. 5% for a micro company, 10% for a small, 15% for a small one, and average one 20%, and a big size company 50%, and an enormous 100. That is the minimum percentage on on the request. Every request 1 million has of economical subsidy. A small company has to give 100,000. A big company has to give 1 million. Having 2 million reais in the project. So we already mentioned timeline, 12 to 36 months. A specific requirement to have at least one Brazilian company, one Norwegian company in each project, and have every task designed for each partner to know exactly what each one is responsible in the project, and to identify with the expertise that each company has to verify this partnership and with their allocated resources in the project. The proposal, as I mentioned, has to be balanced financially regarding development among the partners, and we don't want a company that is Brazilian or Norwegian developing 70 to 80% or 90% of the project. That means it doesn't have to be exactly 50%, but at least 50-40% regarding the finance and development, also in activities. Can you pass on, please?
Mauricio, just a second, please. People are asking, they're saying in the chat that the screen is locked, it's not working. It froze. It's still frozen in the amounts. So I think the sound is working, but the screen froze. So what should I do? Maybe if we can cancel sharing and then we can try to share it again to see if it works, please. All right, now it's working. All right, so specific requirements. Can I keep going? Yes. All right, so specific requirements. So the proposal has to be submitted to the agencies of their respective countries, FINEP and RCN, the Research Council of Norway. If the proposal is submitted unilaterally, they will be rejected. So you can't send the project only for FINEP or only for the RCN because the proposal will not be accepted, it will be rejected. So it has to go to both institutions, the FINEP and to the Research Council of Norway. You have to specify the project, you describe the product, process, or solution that will be clearly developed or improved. So you have to present the scientific methodology that will be used in research and any technological development. So it's very important that you spend time and that you answer any questions with FINEP or the Research Council of Norway. If there are any issues regarding the different fields of the form, although the proposal that was presented is in electronic form and the fields have an explanation of what needs to be filled out in each field. But if there are any questions, please get in touch with FINEP or the Research Council of Norway so that there won't be any problems, so we can analyze the proposals correctly. All right? So we have to present a physical schedule that is consistent with the managerial methodology of execution with the scientific methodology of research. And it has to contain goals and activities that clearly lead to the achievement of the objective defined for the project. So it's important that we see to predict the execution of activities related to the budget. So it has to be coherent with the methodology and the development of the project. It has to predict the execution of activities related to the evolution, certification, and validation necessary for the commercialization of the product, process, or the final solution. It has to clearly indicate which activities on the schedule will be funded with funds requested from FINEP and which will be carried out with funds from the financial contribution of the companies involved. So what is it from the counterpart and what are the resources required or requested from the call notice? So we have to clearly indicate which members of the executive team will be funded with each source of funds. So highlighting who are the members of the executive team, and also inform the motivation of the companies and the ICTs involved to participate in the project, describe the research, development, and innovation, and business strategies of the companies, including the strategy for marketing the product, process, or proposed solution, inform also the capacity of the companies to produce and commercialize the final product, process, or solution. So the existing capacity and what needs to be developed, or what type of training will be outsourced, so we can assess the project properly. We can keep going. And we have the submission of proposals. So it will be mandatory to send the following printed documents to FINEP. So we have attached document Annex 2 to the regulation completed by the Brazilian and Norwegian institutions that are candidates in English, containing information about the part of the work plan that will be developed in Norway and Brazil, the costs and financing in both countries. This is important because we speak Portuguese here. In Norway, they speak the different languages. They speak Norwegian, so we need to have the same proposal with the same information. So we also have the constitutive acts of the intervening company registered with the appropriate commercial board, and we also need minutes of appointment of the company's legal representatives when the appointment is not indicated in the bylaws or in the articles of association. Let's keep going. So documents of economic and financial analysis, balance sheet and income statement for the year of 2019, and balance sheets for 2020. So here we have documents for legal analysis. So this is in our website, in FINEP's website, in Annex 3 of the call. So what are the documents are necessary. For companies belonging to the economic group, it will be necessary to send documentation attesting to the economic group of the gross revenue for the year of 2019. So if the company that is presenting the project in Brazil, that is a small company, but if they're part of a major economic group, then their counterpart will be related to that big economic group, or will count as a big company. So in the screening process, so we have there an elementary evaluation from FINEP that will check the eligibility of participating companies. If the company integrates only one proposal in the same thematic line, you can't send more than one proposal per thematic line. You can send it for another one, but not the same line. Adherence to the request to the value limits, so a minimum of 500 and maximum according to the size of the company. Compliance with the minimum values of consideration according to the size of the company. Compliance with the minimum and maximum execution periods, so from 12 to 36 months. Electronic submissions of FAP and attachments required at the time of submission of the proposal. So the annexes that are necessary, that are required in the notice until the deadline, according to items 5 and 11 of the regulation. Adherence, compliance to the proposal of the objective and the thematic line. So if it's compliant to the proposal of that line that it's applying to, and also we have we will rate these proposals due to the content. So these will be based on the application of criteria which may have an eliminatory or classificatory character. All right. So we're going to assess with a grade from 0 to 5. So we have here in the third column, we have the degree of innovation, considering the originality and level of improvement of the proposed solution. So more innovative, a higher grade. We have technological risk, what is an item 1.2.1 of the regulation. Also, if there is higher risk, it will have if it has less risk, it will have a greater grade. We also have consistency of the proposal partnerships and the dimensions. We have the balanced budget and activities between Brazil and Norway, balance of the proposal, complementarity of the activities of the different beneficiaries, partners in Brazil, relevance of partnerships, existence of partnerships with ICTs in Brazil. All of that will be assessed in that criteria. Consistency and clarity of the proposal and the dimensions, adequacy of physical goals, activities, physical indicators, and budget and deadlines. Technical feasibility, considering the dimensions, adequacy of the executing team for the development of the project, infrastructure of the companies, and experience of the companies with innovation projects. The expected impacts also within the project. And we have here some points that are highlighted here. So these are formal requirements for eliminatory compliance or adherence. So all the criteria have these grades from 0 to 5. So we will eliminate the proposals that don't adhere to these requirements. So those that obtain a score equal to or greater than 3 in the criteria of technological risk and expected impacts. So both FINEP and the Norwegian Council of Research, they're looking for projects that have that are working with non-reimbursable resources. And we have when projects that have a technological risk that is mid to high, so to speak, and also relevant impacts. So those that receive a score equal to or greater than 1 in the other of assessment criteria, if they don't get a score equal to or greater than 1 and the other evaluation criteria, that will be eliminated. Obtain a weighted average equal to or greater than 3, considering all the criteria. So the final grade, or the sum of all the criteria, needs to be higher, equal or greater than 3, and proposals that do not comply with the general provisions of the public call and the current legislation or that present obstacles to approval will be eliminated. All right. So deliberation and results. So Once we go over that phase, then FINEP and RCN will carry out a separate evaluation of the proposals received. We will rank them, the proposals, and we will have a meeting where FINEP will say, well, in the evaluation of this group of proposals, they got this grade. And the Norwegian Council will do the same thing. So we will see how our assessments fit, and then in the 2 calls that we did jointly, it did work very well. We didn't see any significant divergence in terms of a result of that assessment done separately. So, and of course, if we need to adjust anything, we will discuss the proposals as what it was done in the other calls, and we will come up with a common ranking for these projects. Only the projects that have received score above the minimum grade, based on judgment of the committees, from both parties, they may be considered or eligible for financial support, and classified proposals will be submitted to FINEP's executive board for final decision in the case of Brazil. So here we have a list of selected projects will be published by FINEP and the Research Council of Norway on the respective websites. Here we have the links. The final result of the public call will also be published in the Federal Official Gazette in Brazil. And also in the Brazilian case, it's mandatory by law that there is a phase where they will get 10 days after the result is issued, so that the proposing institution may contest the result. If they think the grade is not really adequate for the proposal that was sent, we will assess these contests and we will analyze if it's applicable or not. So in the case of contracting and release of financial resources, the conditions for contracting each project will be defined by FINEP's executive board. Any request made by FINEP to the proponent institution necessary for contracting the operation must be met within the deadline, the maximum deadline of 15 days from receipt. Failure to meet the deadline may result in the proposal being filed. The resources will be conditioned to FINEP's processing flow. The sequence of this process is as follows: technical analysis, financial analysis, and legal analysis, approval, and contracting. So the contractual minutes, the instrument draft signed by the legal representative of the participating institutions must be delivered to FINEP within maximum 30 days from receipt. Any type of contestation, and we will send to the companies that were approved an instrument draft that must be given back to FINEP within maximum 30 days. FINEP will only consider the financial execution of contributions and non-reimbursable resources as project expenses from the date of signing the instrument by FINEP. So any previous expenses will not be included. It has to be from the date of signing. So here we have the schedule. So we have a deadline for submission of proposal till the 12th of May. So you have quite a bit of time to structure the proposal, to answer any questions. You can talk to FINEP and the Research Council if you want to, for instance, get to know a Brazilian company or Norwegian company that can develop projects within that technology, or that has a determined amount of knowledge, and you can ask for help and we can help you to find them. We also have an exchange of application lists between FINEP and RCN. So when we exchange our first impressions about the proposals on May 19th, the candidates list. So on the 19th of May, we are going to exchange who applied, to see if we have the same companies that applied. If some companies applied in one country but not the other, they will be eliminated. Then we will have the exchange of the respective review results on the 19th of August, meeting to decide the selected proposals, on the August 26th, preliminary result disclosure September 13th, and until September 21st, it will be the deadline for submitting administrative appeals. Then we have disclosure of the final result in October 18 to 24, and then beginning of the hiring process on October 19. All right, so this was it. I apologize for any technical issues. And if you have any questions, we are available to answer them. And we will be available if you have any questions, and we can keep answering them later on. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you for the presentation. We excuse ourselves the technological and technical problems. Reminding you some issues. Cristiane, at the beginning of her chat, she mentioned that we had to call a joint public call of FINEP with the RCN, and also the translation is made available by FINEP, and FINEP brought the simultaneous translation to be able to transmit this to Norway. Last issue before we start with the Q&A. There is a query code that you have here on the side of the screen. Whoever wants to give your opinion about this event, your opinion is very important for us. And it's also important for us, for those who are part of the events. Please access the site of Firjan and allow us to contact you in order to advise you of any other events regarding oil and gas market. And also now, because of LGPD, if you have an issue, the issue cannot use the contact anymore. So now we're giving you this tip in order for you to be able to follow us on the web. I don't know if you have any specific question. I have two questions here from the chat. Antonio, do you have any question? Michele? No? Can I continue? Well, I think this question perhaps is for Michele. I don't know if FINEP could also give an answer. Euclides Schumann is asking, how can he find partners from Norway in the area of sensory in pipelines? But this, in general, applied, how can you give support in order to find other companies in Norway to participate in this public call? I thank you very much for your question. And before the pandemic, we used to use a November conference, and the moments that we used to have this exchange and this meeting of researchers, and all these partnerships were naturally done very organically during these events. So now we have to base ourselves on technology and have a matchmaking in a virtual way. I'll answer your question now, and I would like to tell you that any company in Brazil that is interested to find a Norwegian partner, please contact us in Innovation Norway. I'm at your disposal, Marianense also, to contact the specific people involved, university, enterprises in Norway, and find a good partner and do a virtual matchmaking. For Mauricio, they asked also if FINEP gives this support, or you only have Innovation Norway. No, we can also do this. We can try also try and find a matchmaking and find companies like on one side or the other. We also have a very good partnership with Innovation Norway, but Norwegian companies that would like to also to contact Brazilian companies and ECPs and so on. We can try and help you, and on the opposite way also, to find Norwegian companies. Surely we will use our partners here from Innovation Norway for the Norwegian consulate and the embassy, in order to try and make them contact themselves. You can also contact FINEP as well. Good, great. We have a question here from, I don't know if the name is correct. I think it's Philippe R. I don't know if that's the name of the company. He's asking if my project requires more investment with an added value that the size of the company is not in compliance. How does this work? Okay, let me see if I understood the question. It's a greater project than the one that he can is allowed to receive as resources because of the size of his company. Is it that it? I believe so. Yes, it is because of the size of the company, yes. He has to, if he's, we have reimbursement line of FINEP that can also help the other parties out of the public call, but what has to be very clear, what will be support that have to beginning and end from both sides. You can have, imagine you have a project of 10 million reais with a public call. At the max, we can receive 1,800,000 if he's a big company. So he has to present a project that has 1.800 from FINEP, another part from Norway, and has a scope within this. And this other amount that is not included, he can develop with his own resources or also look for funding other lines of FINEP. That's a possibility. Great. There's, besides the other questions asking if the material is going to be made available, there's a question, could you please repeat the amount of the contributions on the Norwegian side, including also another question? If you want to put the slide of the presentation, we would understand it better. If you ask the contribution of the company can be done through a technical team. Yes, the expenses with the technical team developing a project can be as a counterpart of the company and can be requested in a program also. In general, the company, because of the limitation of capital expenses, they include capital expenses as a counterpart, but you're enabled to. All the issues that are feasible, they are the same ones that are in the counterpart. So this is public, we can make it available, no problem. And on the site of FINEP, you have the text of all the public call, but we can make this available. So which was the other question? The other question is about the Norwegian amount that they can contribute. Norway, 15 million Norwegian crowns, but this is for Norwegian companies. Brazilian companies access the resources from FINEP and Norwegian companies from the RCN. Another question for Antonio Fidalgo, how the institutes and SENAI can help the companies in these projects. And we have another question also afterwards from geology research. Can we have partnerships with ECT to represent the product? Yes, FINEP recommends this. How can SENAI help in this? Well, the idea is exactly this, to have ECT partner from the beginning of the idea, in case the company is not really ready for this until the execution and management of it. I would dare to say that we are excellent partners for companies when they submit their proposals for the public call. You can contact us and talk to us. We start with the scope and we help you in the submission and the project. We have a whole structure to give support to the companies in the public call. And talking about contacts, I can't give the contacts of the people because of LGPD, but I have a question here asking how could they contact Michelle in Innovation Norway. And now, if you want to say very slowly your email address so people can take note, or we can put this in the chat also, but I can't say it. Yes, you can make it available. Yes, you may. Okay, I will ask then people to put your emails in the chat, please. Okay, I'm requesting Eva to include your emails in the chat. And regarding the compulsory participation of intermittent companies, can we be regarding the obligation of Brazilian and Norwegian companies intervening, we have to have one Brazilian company and a Norwegian company jointly developing the proposal. Nothing is against having other companies participating in the proposal, as well as ECTs participating in the development of the proposal. But you must have at least one Brazilian company and one Norwegian one developing the project. Great. Let me see if I skipped a question. Here. There is a question. The last question was from Felipe R. I would like to confirm my understanding. Brazilian companies and Norwegian companies have to prepare a proposal jointly, and each one has to present in the format of in the template of their countries, and everything has to be in English, both Brazil and Norway? Okay. The proposal, yes, the proposal. It's a joint proposal of a partnership Brazil-Norway. You will have a common document in English that will be presented to RCN and FINEP. The proposal will also be submitted in a form electronic proposal of FINEP in Portuguese and will be made in Norway in Norwegian language. So what they have in common is the wording of the proposal in English. All the forms of FINEP will include in Portuguese. What will be done by a Brazilian company, what will be done by a Norwegian company. We have a document, a common document in English of both proposals. Chris, do you want to say something? Can you hear me? It's an amendment number 2, enclosure number 2 to the requirement here in Brazil. It's an English document. It's one-page document where you have all the activities that will be held here in Brazil, and the activities will be held in Norway. And also the budget that will be requested here in Brazil, and the budget will be requested there. This is a one-page document that had been delivered here and in Norway. And the rest, all the details of the proposal here in Brazil, it's all in Portuguese. I'm sorry, but her voice is fading. Okay, I think she was able to pass on the information. Eva is advising everybody here. She is including all the emails in the chat, and I think we could also add saki@finep.com, at finep.gov.finep. General email address. I believe we've come to an end. I'm reviewing this, but I believe would you like to have a final round of comments or questions? Let's do the rest. Cristiane, let's see if your audio is working. We do Cristiane, Antônio, Michel, and Mauricio. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. We would like to thank you once again, Firjan, Innovation Norway, and the Norwegian Research Council, and the public, and also to make myself available. And her voice disappeared again. Sorry. Her internet doesn't love her today, because in our meeting everything was perfect with no problem. Today you were not able to. Antônio. Thank you, Cristiane. I'm sorry. I would like to thank once again the opportunity and be at the entire disposal to contribute with the companies in this public call. Thank you. Michele. Once again, I would like to show my appreciation once again to Firjan for our partners, FINEP, SENAI also, and to mention that at your disposal. I know that this year is a very typical year regarding this issue of having partnerships. I would like to reinforce that I'm at your entire disposal to have this virtual matchmaking with the FINEP support. I believe that joining our efforts, we're able to overcome this moment of the distance and also reach the best matchmaking. So please contact us. We're here for you. Thank you. Mauricio. Well, Fernando, I would like to thank also Firjan for the organization of this event. I excuse myself for the technical problems that happened. And we're at your disposal, as Chris mentioned. We have all the emails that were included in the chat. Please contact FINEP. We can help you with the matchmaking. And also, as Michel mentioned, we have a good partnership with Innovation Norway. We can try and overcome this barrier she mentioned. This pandemics, then we're not able to do the things that we're accustomed to. But anyway, we can help the companies clear your doubts. You have time until May. Contacts SENAI, ECTs, that you help a lot. ECTs, the SENAIs have a lot of expertise in proposal presentation, development projects. They can support you with your expertise, that is, and fill in some gaps that you may have in your proposal. Help the development of your proposals. This is one of the issues that's going to be assessed. It's not compulsory, but it's very specific. And clear your doubts, because once you've sent your proposal and you forgot some document, no way. Because the door will be closed and it's it. So we're at your entire disposal to answer, to meet you, and to clear all your doubts before the last day for the submission. Thank you very much. Firjan, SENAI, Innovation Norway, and the Norwegian Research Council. Thank you, Mauricio. Once again, we thank the participation of all of you. We had a lot of questions. I think we were able to discuss some important issues regarding the public call, and also to thank you all that were hearing us and the ones that will hear us afterwards, web night online. And we're at your disposal. Besides Antônio Fidalgo, by SENAI, we are also by the management of petroleum, oil and gas, and I will include my general email for contact. If you want to contact us, we can help you also to know a bit more about SENAI and know in details how we can help you. So we're coming to the end of our event. It's a bit before the schedule, and it's perfect. I would like to thank you once again, and a nice week for all of you.